Good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon, good day, good weekend. Hope it was. It was alright here, a bit quiet, but that's how we like it here sometimes. Say hello, Dave. He's keeping an eye on the beer. Where are you going, man? Come here, look at the people. Scary, isn't it? He's got his eye on my beer over there at the moment, so I'm going to drink that. Cheers. How the devil are you all doing anyway? Just going to open this. Show you this invention again. This piece of woodwork I did when I was about 10 years old in woodwork, first ever project. You meant to square a piece of wood off, which I did, but I didn't do it very well, and then I carved it later years. And you bung a round-headed screw in it, like that. About that far from the end, 3/4 of an inch. Brilliant. I've had that since I was about 10. Fantastic. I've been to so many music festivals, it's unreal. It's Fairport Convention, the Croppery reunion. I went to the first one of those in I think 1981. First ever music festival I'd ever been to, and it was also the weekend before I started my first ever job in London as an accountant and a commuter. So I suddenly got this music festival, discovered all these old hippies that lived and were around, and all this music, and sitting in a field drinking beer and watching music and just having a whale of a time. And then on the Monday, had to get on a train, dressed in a suit, and go and add up numbers for the next 3 years. And after a brief break I went back to it and kept doing that for about 20 years until my brains finally exploded because of all the numbers and all the pressure and all the grief and all the hassle. But there you go. It's a true story, not the most exciting one in the world, but if you are going to go to a music festival, I'd say don't do it before you start a career in accountancy, because every day is going to be like just sitting there wishing you were on a field. It was a steaming hot weekend as well, boiling hot. The beer was almost like evaporating before we had time to drink it. Not quite before, but you know, we were professionals. Beer of the day, same old yellow co-op stuff. It's still on special at the moment, 3 for a £5. 6 for a tenner, even better. So, Friday happened, and Blaze, my music partner from the Blaising Chaos alcohol band, Blaising Chaos, Blaze of Blaising Chaos, that's half of why we called it that, came over Friday, and we had a mixing session, working on one of the tunes for the forthcoming album, a tune called Worldwide Suicide. Nice and happy. And this was one that Blaze had written years and years and years ago, probably 18 years ago when we started, so probably about 20 years ago. He'd written it for the last album we'd recorded years and years back, and it didn't fit on the album. We had too many songs, and so it never got done. And so a few years ago he said, would I mind having a look at this and recording it for him? And I think he was just sort of thinking acoustic guitar, vocal, maybe a bass guitar, maybe a tambourine. Anyone who needs to know how to play the tambourine, you don't have to do that with your head, but it helps. It's like a pendulum, you know. If you don't do it, there's no groove, man. So get the groove. What am I talking about? So Blaze come over and said, you know, can I sort this song out? And in my head, I got the idea for a big orchestration sort of thing. I said, we can put the strings and horns and all this sort of stuff, and I want this big. He said, really? Can you do that? And you know, yes, we can do whatever. So we recorded this some time ago. Blaze is playing 2 guitars on it. He's playing his old classical guitar, strumming some old rhythm out of that, and that is one of the bassiest things you'll ever hear in your life. It's just got this huge booming on it. And then he did another tune, another guitar track on my Ovation here. Or was it his Ovation? I can't remember. He bought one, but I think he used mine on that one. Put some vocals on it, and then the rest of it I did with the keyboard here and played live synth lines and put them through various bits of kit to make them sound like horns and strings and all that sort of stuff. So this weekend we were mixing it. Thank you very, very much, Gary. Blinky the Owl, thank you very much for the mute and freeze track thing. It was on my mind to render the MIDI tracks before we started mixing anything, just to get them done, make sure we've got the presets and all the sounds I want. So some VSTs, some of the cheap or free VSTs, sometimes they don't mess about with all this sort of stuff, slidey and twiddly bits. Sometimes they don't remember it the next time you go in, so if you're doing that, save it as a preset, call it whatever it is. So I'm calling things like Blaising Chaos, Worldwide Suicide, Vocal 1 on the reverb, whatever, so they're always going to be there to call up. So yes, that really made a difference. We froze the tracks, I've switched off all the VSTs, switched off all the effects for the MIDI tracks, and I just loaded the tune up and it bounced into life straight away, so that seems to have worked. So thank you very much for that. We also used the TDS Ferric plugin as recommended by Pete. Thank you very much, mate. That's going on the master channel of all of our tunes, I think, on this thing now. That seems to be the one we want. And again, we're using the mix glue preset on that and just having a little tweak here and there. Although I'm not really tweaking it at the moment, I'm just leaving it as it is, and it seems to be doing the job. I'm rather tweaking things going into it, and it seems to be working. So if it ain't broke, don't let me get in there and start doing that with it, because no good will come of it, obviously. What else did we do? The vocal, we had vocal on one main channel, and I bounced that onto 2 other channels. So you've got the main one in the middle, the other 2 out here. And all I did was we had very, very slight reverb on all of them. Didn't sound reverby, it just sounded like, if you took it out, you just notice a sort of flatness in parts. And what I did was I increased the reverb on these 2, left the middle one pretty flat, and increased the mix on the reverb on these 2 as well, so you got less of the original signal and more just of the reverb effect. And it's very short reverb, but again that added some real air, and what it seemed to do is punch the vocal in the middle out and really make that sort of stand out a bit, so that was cool. And the rest of it, really, I've done very little. A bit of editing here and there, a bit of taking out frequencies, you know, killing Blaze's bass guitar. We obviously got rid of this massive boom coming out of that, and then what I did was sort of emphasise that frequency on the Evotion, because that wasn't booming, so just a touch, and that sort of brought that back in. And by mixing that in with the bass line that we've got, which is just played on a keyboard, on an acoustic bass sound on a synth. It's not that acousticy, but it does the job. It fits in nice with everything else anyway. So we didn't get round to mixing it. We didn't get round to finishing off mixing it, because by the time we'd done all of that, we'd used about 5 hours. We spent almost 1 hour chasing how to remove squeaks off the fretboard of a guitar. He's playing these chords, trying to think what it is, is it that? But trying to chase these squeaks and trying to filter those out was a bloody nightmare, because obviously there's more than one frequency and they move, and you start filtering them out and you end up just destroying the guitars. So I don't mind a bit of that, so we killed it off a little bit, but I actually like a bit of that. It's not over the top, it's not too much that we had to record another guitar track or find another way of playing it, which we've had to do on another tune. Yeah, and again, it was sort of slightly less of a squeak on the Evotion, so I've sort of pushed that up a little bit, boosted the frequencies on that one, took them down off the other 2, and it all seems to balance quite nice. And again, in the mix, the Evotion is sort of there, and the other 2 guitars are out here somewhere, so again, it just all pads itself out. Yeah, what's it sound like, you're asking me, or you're just saying shut the fuck up and do something. There's no animals to release tonight. The dove, it's gone to a sanctuary, and it's very happy apparently. It's yeah, it did get stuck to a hedgehog and just got trundled around for a few days on the back of this thing, but they managed to pry it off, because all sorts of things at these sanctuaries. I have no idea what's going on, and it rained and turned it into papier-mâché, but apart from that, it's doing well apparently. Thanks for asking. Okay, this is what about a minute of this, just to give you a blast of what we did, and I'll tell you about something else. This is where we got to. I'm going to drink a bit.
Allocate yourself a desk, sip a pound of tea, initiating sequence, enter valid key. Are you sure? Hit the Y. What have you done wrong? Pollution filter shutting down. Where's the city gone? Down, 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 down. Worldwide suicide. Down, 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 down. Worldwide suicide. Down, 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 down. Worldwide suicide. Down, 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 down. Worldwide suicide.
That's what we did. So yeah, so that's where it is so far. We haven't completed mixing it. That last blast at the end, I want to blow that out so it gets really, really big. But that's what we did. Reaper and that bits of kit I told you about the other day, all done on there with a load of free VSTs. They were the DSK. Most of the orchestration things are done on DSK strings and DSK brass. They might be the ones, because they're the free ones, which are causing a little bit of conflict. I'm not entirely sure. But when they work, they're bloody good, actually. As long as everything saves and you keep saving everything, you won't lose anything. And they do a set of higher quality instruments for about $25 or something like that, and you get a whole bunch. And I'm thinking about going ahead and getting those at some point, because they're bloody handy. So, last week's guitar lesson, I had a guitar lesson, and a lad brought his guitar over, and he said, I haven't got the SG this week. He said, because I went to play it and I broke the top E strings. Oh, no worries. So I bought his sister's guitar, pulled out the bag, there's a string gone on that. So I said, oh, don't worry about it. It's the top E again. Oh, right. So I said, don't worry about it, use this. So I got the old Epiphone Les Paul thing out, and I said, yeah, I'll use this. I said, oh, hang on, there's a problem with this string here, and I pulled the top E, and the top E broke on that as well. So so in the end, we both played acoustic. That was cool. I give him the ovation, and we messed about with that, and I used the old aria. So some restringing coming up this week. I might do a video of me swearing while I restring the 12 string, because as some of you may know, I hate nothing more than a slotted headstock on a steel string instrument, particularly when there are lots and lots of strings. Don't do it. Don't do it. There's no need for a slotted headstock ever on anything. It really isn't. You know, if you really need to save, weight on it that much, then just do a little bit of workouts on your shoulder. Do a bit of that, and your shoulder will be strong enough to hold the extra weight up, and no one will notice. But don't put a slotted headstock on a steel string guitar, because I'm just going to swear at it, and no one's going to find that big or clever. But I'll video it anyway, just to prove it. Anyway, I said anyway twice. That's 3 times. So I've got to stop saying so as well, because that's going to be the word of the month. That's where we are. Again, thank you, and Richard Curbis as well. That tip you gave sometime in a video ages back, and it's something I'd never even really considered, about killing off frequencies in things to make everything else burst out. It was always, I was only really killing frequencies when they were doing something nasty, but this whole thing of going through and creating space for everything really, really works. Wonderful stuff. I've got a few other tricks up my sleeve to try out with that. And we'll see how it all works out, but we're going to have another mixing session, I think, in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. We'll get that one finished, and then we'll probably work on another tune, a simpler one, get that out, and then we'll have 4 tunes pretty much mixed out of 12. So be a third of the way there. It's good enough, isn't it? 33 1/3%. It's the same speed as an LP. It's a good sign. Take it easy. I will see you on the next one. If I don't, there won't be a next one, will there? Ah, see? Oh dear. They gone yet? Oh, I've got to press the button. See ya.